There you go there fellas, Slow Lane Brewing, Oaty Oatmeal Stout, 5.4%, not so strong, but an Oaty Stout. The doctors would prescribe these to people for health benefits, I reckon, in the past. I'm talking about, I read the story, it's easy to read, you're kidding, for a change. Alright, here we go, Slow Lane. I don't think I've had one of theirs. They're from Botany, New South Wales. Yeah, stouty. Oh, it's got some really nice after flavours, after tastes. Yum. I like it. Yummy. Well done. I think it was $7.99 or something, which isn't so cheap for a 5.4% beer. Then I think I got a 15% discount, so yeah. So there we go. So bloody nice beer. Too bad it's so expensive. Yeah, if these are a couple of bucks a can, you couldn't make enough of it. It's gorgeous. Lovely drop. Be good in winter, but being so light, it's not so bad even on a warm day here. It's probably 28 degrees or something here today. Yeah, that's a good stout. Grew up with stouts with my old man, having a little bit of lemonade in his. And more lemonade in our ones when he gave us kids a little sip. But yeah, I grew up with stout. I think kids, it's good for kids. So get your kids onto the stout, I reckon. I don't know if that's allowed. Older kids, when they're over 18. I think I started when I was 5. So it didn't do anything bad to me. Or maybe that's what it was. That was what was wrong with my childhood. Too early on the beers. What about the gaggers? All us kids are all smokers, even though we didn't even have to buy any or smoke them, because all the adults and teachers and everyone just smoked inside and in the cars. Summer was okay, you could wind the window down. In winter, oh, don't wind the window down, you know, you'll let the smoke out. No, you'll let the cold in. Oh, of course, you're kidding. Oh well, we went to China and we went to all these restaurants in Shanghai. Went to a few local, so we've got an apartment, and then we went further afield and had a few Szechuan. We had a Vietnamese meal one night. I remember where it was. My wife couldn't even remember how to get there. I directed the taxi. I got to know Shanghai pretty well by the time we left. We were only there probably 10 days. We used it as a base. So I went there first, then went to Suzhou, and then we went to Hangzhou, back to Shanghai, then went to Beijing and across to Qingguangdao, back to Beijing and back to Shanghai. And yeah, we found some great restaurants. I remember my daughter wanted to play with the puppy as we walked into one. And I said to her, don't play with your dinner. Yeah, it was a bit awakening for her. She was pretty young at the time, probably only about 8. Yeah, funny old traditions in China, Vietnam. Our first soup in Vietnam was a bloody dog soup by accident. We didn't know what it was. We thought it was beef. Till they went, woof woof. Yeah, bloody dog. Well, the dog's barking at me for 3 days until the smell left me. So if you ever eat dog, don't go running down on the beach in Thailand on your own at 6 in the morning. You'll have the dogs all around you anyway, but they'll get real angry if you stink a dog. Yeah, I reckon they know. I couldn't do it again. And if someone gave me the option, do you want dog? I'd say, nah, tried it once. Didn't even really want to try it ever. Man's best friend, pretty hard eating it. I was reading about watched a YouTube video about they call them Franks. They were the Franks, and they went over to Jerusalem. You know, and when they come to towns, I'd say to them, you know, give us the town and we'll let you leave. And they said no, so they attacked the town, and so it took a while sometimes, but they eventually breached the towns and murdered everyone in there, man, woman and child. That was the early Christians doing their little bullshit thing in Middle East. And then when the Muslims took Jerusalem, they did a deal with the Christians and let them live. So that just shows you that the Muslims aren't so fucking bad as the media portrays them. Christians, Jews. I think all extremists of all those three monotheist religions are pretty extremist. But yeah, Australia being like well, I'd say it's mostly Christian, but the people in Australia, majority don't go to church. They don't follow rules like if the son's unruly and, you know, a bit of a bad boy, you take him down to the town and everyone stones him to death. That's what the early Christians did. It was in the Bible. Yeah, pretty cruel. Anyway, won't go there. I haven't been to Jerusalem. I don't really wish to. I wanted to go to Egypt, but I don't like the government and their whole narrative about the pyramids and how they think they're Egyptian people and they actually, their ancestors built them. A little bit of a problem there, I can tell you. One is the first one, most of the mummies they found all had red hair. You have a look at the Egyptians today, the only ones with red hair are the prostitutes. And that's bottle red. It's not real. So it's not the same people. So anyway, they try to take all the credit for it, but they didn't build them. My belief is all the big structures around the world were all built before the flood. First, you've heard of it from anyone? So those old Greek and Roman places and all the places with those real old crumbling ruins were all built before the flood, and then the Greeks and Romans built on top of their foundations and used up some of their leftovers. But a couple of times they couldn't shift things. The rocks were too big, didn't have the technology to make some of the things. You know, it's the craftsmanship on the granite sarcophaguses and things like that. I reckon they did it with copper chisels. I don't think so. Wooden mallets? It's fucking impossible. Diamond tip sword? Yeah, now you're getting close. The precision and the holes. You know, how many people do you know can drill a hole in granite in the shape of a star? It's not so easy, is it? A star. Holes, star shape. Square ones, round ones. All different shaped ones. Yeah, they did that with the copper chisel. You know? Come on. They've got us all fooled. The world's been around for millions of years. Humans have been here for millions. We found a bloody coffin in Russia that's 200 million years old. Yeah, how's that one? 200 million years old. Humble. Alright guys, we'll get back to the real world of beers. This is a good beer. Don't believe the timeline. Don't believe in the bullshit they've been teaching us since we've been kids. You know, what's this fucking hairy fairy shit that we've come from apes? And then I'm looking for the missing link, and then some smart ass in England glues a gorilla's jaw onto an old human and says that's the Pilkington man, he's the missing link. And I sat there for 60 years, no one said nothing. Yeah, that's the missing link. Oh, hang on a minute, it's just a fucking baboon's jaw glued onto a human skull. Something like that. It was ridiculous. So that's the bullshit they've been telling us. And of course we were bigger. There was giants, of course. There was bigger animals. Bigger kangaroos. Bigger everything. You just imagine if the gravity wasn't as strong, everything would grow bigger. So what's happening is gravity is getting stronger and then it gets weaker. We go through cycles. Just like the weather, it gets warmer and it gets colder. And I say it's getting warmer now, yeah, but it was a lot warmer before. Antarctica had ferns. They found frozen mammoths with tropical food in their guts, snap frozen in Siberia. Probably the coldest place on earth, other than the poles. So, if we want to go back to how the world was, we'll wait until the ice caps completely melt, and then we'll get close to what it was like. It's a joke, isn't it? Absolute fucking joke. Alright guys. Place is looking alright down there. I did a bit more whippersnippering. It's a work in progress. Beers are on. Forget about the work. Cheers.